All right, welcome in, welcome all, everybody. It is another episode of From the Pocket coming at you a couple weeks after the draft. You know, we've been a little quiet lately. It's, look, we don't do this full time. Life happens. That's what's going on. Life has been lifing, but we wanted to get in here. We wanted right before the end of this whole draft, cycle ended to give our thoughts. Going to have a couple episodes coming at you this week. First episode, the one we're doing today, we're going to go over our favorite draft classes from the past weekend a few weeks ago. And then the episode later on this week will be the drafts we maybe not disliked, but drafts that are getting a lot of questions, getting a lot of criticism. So, Christian, how have you been, my dude? What's been going on with you?
Like you said, life has been life, and so just figuring some things out for the next couple of months.
A lot of stuff to get to. Wanted to get into some teams that we liked their draft. Not necessarily a statement on the teams in general, not even a statement on how their offseason went in general. This is specifically about what we thought about their draft. So, Christian, I know I said we'd do like 3 teams apiece. My list, as you can see in our doc, is like 7 teams long. So going to try to kind of parse that as we go, but wanted to get started, wanted to give you the floor. Talk about who did you like the most in this
Jake,
draft class?
I think I'm going to shock you here, but
oh, yeah.
I like the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I bet you did, Mr. Dolphin, just repping your team. No, I mean, look, I have some thoughts about the Dolphins draft as well, and I know the Dolphins draft was controversial. A lot of people did not like your first pick with Caden Proctor. I thought there were a couple of odd reaches in there with like Caleb Douglas in the 3rd round. That was very surprising to me.
We needed receivers, but yeah.
I'll give my thoughts after. I don't want to spoil it. Tell me what you liked about your team's draft.
Well, let's just get right into it with the first pick, Caden Proctor, tackle from out of Alabama. I think it's funny. So, like, Jake, when during the Mike McDaniel era, what would you say were some descriptions of, the Mike McDaniel era of the Miami Dolphins?
Descriptions. I'd have probably called you some breakdancers.
Small. We were soft. We were a finesse team. When it got later in the season, didn't really go well. And the cold games and all that stuff. So when our GM Sullivan comes in, from Green Bay, frozen tundra and all that stuff, and I felt like they were trying to make a statement here with their first pick. And, we get one of the biggest dudes in the draft in Caden Proctor. From what I haven't read a whole ton about all this stuff, but I mean, from what I could see, I mean, the dude is very athletic for his size. He's, has, I think, good, solid fundamentals with blocking. He's good with his hands. And I'm like, okay, so what's the problem? And it's like, oh, he really can't control his weight. And I'm
he's just undisciplined in general in how he plays. He's very erratic.
Okay.
He can be inconsistent. So, the concerns are not nothing. But continue. Just
that is fair. But I'm like, okay, well, we've been saying this team is soft. We did need offensive line help as well. I think we're switching him over to guard as well, which I think can fit him very, very well, especially in his first year, as a tackle. You're sometimes left on an island by yourself, and these edge rushers are very quick and fast and can get around you. So I like the move that we're switching him to guard. That way, he's not always single. He'll probably have to single block at times, but I think it's probably a little easier to, block a nose guard or, a defensive tackle. Those guys, I mean, some are very, very good. Don't get me wrong, but I think, him combo blocking with the center and all that stuff. So, I mean, with the weight stuff, I'm not very concerned about it. I know I'm not really worried about that. Like, I can be worried about it if he comes into, training camp overweight. Nick Saban, as an analyst, he has to give his opinion. And I mean, he said, like, if you can, just monitor it, I think he's a very fine player. So I'm not too concerned about it. I like the pick. Like, I hear all your concerns, but I think we needed this. Also, it's Malik Willis and the power of friendship. We did, and David A-Chain, obviously.
Devon A-Chain is awesome. And you do have Aaron Brewer, who Aaron Brewer is a stud. I mean, he's an unrestricted free agent next year, but I think they'll probably get a deal done with him because he is one of the best centers in the league.
Patrick Paul, I think, our tackle, he started to play well in that back half of that season. So I like the Proctor news, or the Proctor draft. Hopefully he can, get more discipline, keep his weight down. But I personally like the pick. I love Chris Johnson. We did need help in that secondary. A lot of our secondary players got injured. So I love a guy. Love that pick in the first round. So I'm hopefully, he's a mainstay for our secondary for years and years to come. Like Jacob Rodriguez, just another guy who I saw during his draft stuff that, like, not very good in coverage, can kind of drift out of his zone. Hopefully we can get that fixed with Halfley there. But he forced a lot of fumbles. I don't know if that's going to translate a lot in the NFL, but he seems like he's not afraid to get fit the run and stuff. So we needed that toughness also. Just a few more and I'll be done, Jake. We are the Miami Packers, so we didn't take a receiver in the first round, but we did end up getting, 3 other receivers: Caleb Douglas in the 3rd from Tech, Chris Bell, a 3rd again and from Louisville, and then another receiver, Kevin Coleman Jr. from Missouri in the 5th. So like that. And then last one, the tight end, Will Kazmaris, blocking tight end. I like that as well. Helps us, helps our line out. I feel like we are going to be, and then we took another tight end later in the 5th round as well from Mississippi State. Do not know how to pronounce that name. I don't want to butcher this man's name. So I like this. I think we are going to be Devon A-Chan led team. So getting the guys that can, block and, get him in space and see what he does. We do have a young receiving core. So I am going to, we'll see how it goes when the preseason happens, but I feel like I'm going to go into this watching at least the Miami Dolphins preseason a lot and see who pops during the preseason. We got a lot of receivers. Got to figure out that core there. We have a young lineman here, and then excited to see what Chris Johnson can do. Jacob Rodriguez. So I'm excited with our draft. We were a rebuilding team. I like the approach that we had of not all these guys are going to hit, but I like the approach. I think 13 draft picks. I like this approach. Like, hey, let's get all the picks we can. We're not going to hit on all of these picks, but we do need to find, some diamonds in the rough. Hopefully we hit on all of them, obviously, but that's not realistic.
You hit on all of them. Oh my gosh, you're cooking. This is like almost half a team.
This is the greatest draft of all time then. So yeah, I liked it all. As I said, not all of these are going to hit, obviously, but I'm rooting for all of them. And so.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think a lot of people, first off, Caden Proctor, for those of y'all who do not know, Caden Proctor was going to go, at worst, he was going to be gone by the time the Lions got to him. The Lions were going to take him if he was available. They ended up taking Blake Miller. They were going to take a lineman anyway, but there was a lot of reporting. Daniel Jeremiah, Pete Schrager, they were both in lockstep independently. Like they were talking to people independently and had heard together that Caden Proctor was not making it past Detroit. So all these people who are like, Caden Proctor's a reach, like I don't think so. I think the Dolphins had 7 picks in the top 100. Yeah. Well, they ended up taking 6 players in the top 100. I think they originally had 7. They might have traded out. I can't remember. But they ended up having 6 picks in the top 100. When you're in the Dolphins position, right, where you really don't have anything. I mean, you do not. You have Devon Achane, Chop Robinson, and Aaron Brewer. I mean, those are the stilts of your team. You're in a position where it's like we're taking upside swings. We're taking players who we think could have high upside. And the other kind of piece of it is to have success in the draft. A lot of it is it's having the most amount of darts to throw at the board. And that's what the Dolphins had. They had the most amount of darts to throw at the board, and they picked upside. Caden Proctor is 21 years old by the time the season starts. If he has the tools, he has the physical ability to where, you'd like to hopefully see him clean up some of those issues he has with his discipline and his inconsistency and keep his weight maintained. And that is a lot of ifs. I understand that. But if he can do those things, I mean, you have a really, really, really fantastic lineman on your hands and a lot of upside. And not only that, but like they're going to play him at guard this year. And I think the goal is, you have Austin Jackson and you have Charlie Heck, who are both going to be unrestricted free agents next year. I don't think they're going to bring Austin Jackson back. So I think the idea is you have him at guard, and then you can kick him out to tackle next year after he gets a year under his belt. So like, and maybe you don't. Maybe you keep him at guard if he excels there. So like, there's some flexibility there. But like the Dolphins, I wanted to see them take a lineman with their first pick. I was big saying that they would do that. All these rando people saying they were going to take a receiver with their first pick. Total nonsense. Absolute nonsense. They were always going to take a big dude. What offensive defensive lineman? It was going to be a big dude, and they took the biggest dude. Like they took a massive human being. So,
and I think we talk about this all the time when you're starting out and you have holes like all over your roster. It's the sexy flashy pick of receiver, quarterback, runner. That's not how you build a team.
Not at all.
You got to build your team through the trenches, and then once you like what you have, or you have solid players at offense and defense, like then you can go out and get the guys that can help your offense or like pass catch, run the ball, or corners and all that.
Exactly. Well, in corner, and I'll talk about Chris Johnson in a second, but like
I'm really excited for Chris Johnson.
I am too, but I do have some like to play, kind of be fair. Like I do have a little bit of hesitancy because of some of just what you just said, but like Caden Proctor for me, it's like he's 21 years old. By the time the Dolphins are really feeling themselves as far as cooking and making their team, be like actually in the conversation for doing something serious, he's gonna be 24 years old. And by that point, like, if you don't like him, you don't have to re-sign him. You can send him off to free agency. Like you would have probably found his replacement. But like, there's just so much flexibility when you're where the Dolphins are, where it's like, you're not, you would love to take a guy with a high floor. Like you can't, I'm not going to say that's the wrong approach either, but taking a young guy with a high ceiling who you don't even need to be that good this year. He can be not good and nobody's going to care. Because if he's better in year 2 and better in year 3, well, okay, now he's 24 and now we're playoff contenders. So like he's hitting his kind of prime at that. I don't mind the pick. I think people are being too harsh on it. The Chris Johnson pick, I mean, I loved that pick so much. Chris Johnson is like my dude in this draft. He was my favorite player in this draft. A lot of people had him as like the 5th or 6th best corner in this draft. Except
the Athletic had him behind
Dane Brugler. Brugler was the one, which I was happy to see because I was when I was doing my research, I was just like, everybody's like, yeah, he's like the 5th or 6th best corner in this draft, and I'm like reading about him, and I'm just like, dude has no weaknesses. Plays inside, plays outside, plays press, plays man, plays zone. Is disciplined with his hands. Oh, but he's not an athlete. Oh, actually, yeah, he is. He's a freak athlete. He's incredibly. He scored on the RAS score like incredibly high. So it's just I'm sitting here. I'm like, why is this guy not a first round pick? Why are we sitting here projecting him to be like a late day 2 pick?
And he played at San Diego State.
And that's what it boiled down to. And the fact that the Dolphins had the foresight to take this player in the first round, absolutely loved it. Big props to them. I think he is going to be he's absolutely worthy, in my opinion, of being the second corner off the board. Not to say I don't like the other corners. Big fan of Colton Hood. He went to the Giants. I was happy about that. But like, I was such a fan of them drafting Chris Johnson. And Jacob Rodriguez, fantastic linebacker. A lot of people. He was basically the second linebacker in this draft behind Sonny Styles. You already talked about him a little bit, so I was happy with that. The Caleb Douglas pick, I won't lie. I've done a lot of research. I know a lot of these prospects. I'd never heard of that man. Never heard of that man when they took him. And I was listening to the Athletic Football Show, and they all went, "Who? I've never heard of this man." And Dane Brugler's like, "Yeah," because Dane Brugler knows all of the players. He's like, "Yeah, I did not expect him to go here, but let me." So that was a reach, at least according to consensus. But let me caveat that
We took two more others.
So Chris Bell. Everybody thought Chris Bell would go way earlier than he did. He's got some injury concerns. Chris Bell is like a store brand Des Bryant. He's like a store brand Des Bryant. So
he's cool for a little bit.
I think he's going to be a really, really solid pro athlete. He's probably not going to play that a ton, at least at the start of the season, but you don't need him to. You're the adult. Like, you don't really need him to. And I love Kevin Coleman. I'm a big Kevin Coleman fan. I think he was a total steal. I think he is one of the best corners. He's not like one of the best in terms of like, he's not like a top 5 corner in this draft, but like, I was listening to that franchise guy who turned me on to Kevin Coleman. He had him as his 10th receiver, and the more I dug into him, he just is one of those guys that he just does a lot of things really well. Like, I think he could be a solid second or even third receiver for y'all. So like, if you just pretend like, to me, they came before Caleb Douglas, I think it all works out fine. Like, you ended up getting the value anyway. It just came in a weird order, so I'm not too upset about it. And then Kyle Lewis, bro. I was waiting to see who was going to take Kyle Lewis. I can't believe y'all got him at 138. He is a very specific. He's a linebacker, but he's probably more of a safety than a linebacker.
I mean, hey, we need it. We need
yeah. I mean, he can.
We need all.
He's a bit of a hybrid. So, and I love the idea that he's going to Jeff Hafley, who's going to know kind of how to use him. I don't know what the plan is for him, but I know Jeff Hafley has a plan for him. So, and then Michael Taff out of Texas. That's a great safety pick as well. And then also getting Max Llewellyn in the 7th round. I was a fan of that too. Like, I looked down your list and I'm just like, that's value. So I was a big fan of the Dolphins draft. I think y'all did a really good job. I think y'all took swings on upside and y'all took a lot of dart throws, and y'all got a lot of what I think are some of the premier players in this draft. So kudos to y'all. Like, I'm excited for y'all. You're not going to probably be that competitive this year.
Oh no, I think I even saw Warren Sharp tweeted we're going to have one of the hardest.
Yeah, it's going to be a brutal season.
Yeah. I'm not expecting us to be really, really good. It's really all about development and see who pops out of all these picks that we got.
But to move on to again, these are probably in no particular order. I just want to talk about drafts I liked a lot. The Bucks. I absolutely loved the Bucks draft. Getting Ruben Bain at 5th. Like, first off, coming into this draft, the Bucks need
arms, Jake. The short arms.
I do not care. Like, I mean, I understand that
it depends. It really depends.
I understand the several years ago, Shannon Sharp talked about this with Kyler Murray, where he was just like, look, I understand the talent, but we have never seen a quarterback succeed at this level being as small as Kyler Murray is. He's like, and I'm not going to be the one that takes a stab at that and sees if it actually works. He's like, I'll let somebody else do that. And so I understand that kind of logic where it's like, man, Ruben Bain has unprecedented arms. Nobody I don't even remember the stat. I think it's like since 1990, it might even be ever, has gone in the top 100 with arms that measured like his. And we're talking about him as a bona fide top 10 pick in this draft. So, like, I understand why a lot of teams are looking at that going, no, I'm not me. Not me. I'm not going to be the one that sees if that works. I'm not going to blow my top 10 first-round pick on this guy only to have his arms actually be a problem. But going to the Bucks, who I genuinely think with Shaq Barrett had a similar profile to him where he had kind of shorter arms, and Todd Bowles for the Bucks maximized him. I mean, he led the league in sacks one year. So I think Ruben Bain could not have gone to a better place. And also
they needed somebody like him because Todd Bowles on the hot seat.
And I mean, yeah, like they needed front seven help bad. So like that was to me best case scenario. Ruben Bain dropping to them. Josiah Trotter, getting him in the second round too. I mean, that dude does one thing well, and it is, I'm gonna hit the shit out of you. I'm gonna beat you up. I'm a thumper, and I love that being added to the linebacking core. I was a big fan of that. And then Ted Hurst. I mean, look, Ted Hurst, he's probably a little underdeveloped. He's still got some work to do, but he's just tall, fast, physical. He is just a toolsy receiver. And I think that's a great replacement for Mike Evans. You know, not saying he's going to be as good as Mike Evans. Mike Evans was a first-round pick. And Mike Evans is obviously a Hall of Famer, bubble Hall of Famer guy. You know, I don't know if Ted Hurst is ever going to be that, but like, as far as the body type, as far as the physical tools, they got a good guy in Ted Hurst. And I think in the what is that, the mid-third round, that is really good value. And then Keontae Scott. I mean, Keontae Scott, he stayed on the board. He was supposed to go a lot sooner, but he is a very, very specific player. You kind of need to have a very specific plan, and I think what happened with that, my understanding, is that there's just a lot of teams that were very much, they're like, we're not going to be the one that takes a shot at Keontae Scott because he just doesn't fit our defense. So the fact that the Bucks took him, Todd Bowles again, I think they're going to have a good plan for him. He's Ruben Bain's like best friend as well. So you had the two homies link up. You're having the two homies link up in the NFL. To Keontae Scott, like he's listed as a DB. He can probably be in the slot. He's probably, slot safety kind of guy, a little bit of a hybrid.
From Athletic, Bruger saying he's a linebacker and a corner's body, which look, I do not mind a corner that's willing to, get like that's. I think that's a very good quality to have, especially as a cornerback, because corners, we always talk about them, not wanting to get in there in the scrum to, make a tackle. So I do like that. Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see what Todd Bowles does with his skill set. I think he can maximize that value. I guess, I don't know if that's putting him in the nickel and sending him on blitzes and stuff like that, or keeping him near the line of scrimmage for like, those dump offs, or
exactly
those wide receiver screens, tight end screens, those RPOs. So I think he could be. I think Todd Bowles can do a really good job with his skill set.
I totally agree. I mean, he's and Dane Brugler talks about it here. He's a downhill attacking kind of corner nickel. I that's exactly how I would describe him. I think if you put him in a situation where he has to backtrack, he has to back up, you're in trouble. You want him to be able to kind of read and come downhill and manage things. And I mean, I think with that, they got to win it. So I think they added 3 bona fide starters to their team. Ted Hurst, I don't know if he'll be a starter, but like, I think he'll be a nice rotational receiver for them and maybe a starter long-term.
I mean, knock on wood, but I mean, their injury luck with receivers has been not great. Like Emmanuel Buka, like, which we both love. He was phenomenal. He got injured. Chris Godwin's still in and
he's always hurt.
He's always hurt. So we might see Ted Hurst. So.
It's just so crazy to think about how the Bucks went into last season's draft, the 2025 draft, with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. And they're like, we need a receiver. And they took a first-round receiver in Emeka Ibuka, and here we are a year later going, do they have enough at receiver? Like, it's crazy. It's just, but like, that's just what it's been for them. It's just been injury, luck, and
hey,
Chris Godwin's older. Mike Evans left.
Stephon Diggs is still out there. So like, there's still some receivers they can get.
Yeah, 100%. So, big fan of the Bucs draft. I'm excited for them. The Bucs, I don't know how this year is going to look for them. This might be a bit of a down year. I think there is something to the idea that like, they had a bad second half last year, so we all remember them having a bad second half.
I think even their like first half, like they were
barely winning games.
Yeah, they were barely winning games. Thank you.
Yeah, but I also think I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that we're not making predictions here yet. I'm just saying it would not surprise me if the Bucs turn out to be that team that we're all like, the last time we remembered them, it wasn't good, so we're all down on them. And then we come into the season and it's like, Baker bounces back. That offensive line is really good. Bucky Irving is awesome. Chris Godwin, Emeka Ibuka, Cade Otton are all great weapons. And that defense is a little improved because of who they drafted. And we all go, oh, okay, actually the Bucs are good. They're a pretty good team. So not saying, just saying. Anyway, who's your next team, Christian?
I like the Seahawks draft.
Oh, okay, that's controversial.
I mean, I understand. First pick, they replaced Kenneth Walker. I do think but they still have the Charbonnet there,
who's going to be probably missing the first half of the season.
Yeah, that is going to be tough.
And I will also say, just for kind of information's sake, they did also bring in Emmanuel Wilson from the Packers, who very much rotational running back, like has not had meaningful first team reps. But I mean, he's got some pretty good stats. So I think they hope that maybe a combination of Ja'Jarian Price, who for the record was splitting carries, not even splitting. I mean, he was the second back to Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame.
So he got fresh legs.
He does have fresh legs, but it's also that question of like, can he take that running back one load? I think the plan is to have him and Emmanuel Wilson kind of split carries until Charbonnet can get worked back into the lineup.
Yeah, like I think that's what they were doing last year with that. So I like Jordan Pierce here with their first round pick into the first, so like practically a second rounder. So I don't really care about the value of a running back, whatever. But their next two picks, Bud Clark, safety out of TCU, and Daniil Neal, cornerback from Arkansas. They lost a few of their secondary players, and if I can trust any, valuation of secondary players, it's the Seattle Seahawks, especially with Emmanuel Newari last year. He was a rookie, and he was
Nicky Manwari was so awesome.
And
they got him in the second round.
Was he the captain last year for their defense? I don't remember, but he was
more like
maybe not the captain.
Skeleton key. He was the one that he was there. Because Mike McDonald was the Ravens defensive coordinator, right? And they had Kyle Hamilton, and Kyle Hamilton was the thing that like unlocked their defense. Nicky Manwari was their Kyle Hamilton. He's the guy that we're going to put in nickel, and we're going to have a safety, and we're going to rotate in and have him come in and help in the run. He was the guy that made everything kind of work.
So I trust in these two picks on, what they value in these two guys here. So I'm looking forward to how they get to fit into this system. I trust them with secondary players. They took a guard in 5th round, Bo Stevens, guard from Iowa in the 5th round. Took another receiver, Emmanuel Henderson Jr., wide receiver from Kansas, 6th round pick. Rotational guy. We'll see if he gets to play. Maybe he'll be like a return guy. Then they took 2 corners in the 7th, guy from Toledo, Andre Fuller, and Michael Dansby, corner from Arizona, and then a defensive tackle, Devin Eastern from Minnesota. So I know it's not probably the sexiest. They didn't have a lot of draft capital in this past draft, but I do trust in their kind of brain trust over there. I know it's going to be a tough season for them, coming off the Super Bowl, losing Clint Kubiak there, but I like their first 3 picks, and hopefully these later guys find rotations in the lineup and get some playing time and are very good value pieces, but I at least like their first 3 picks.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Jadarian Price thing is weird, and it's one of those where, you know, everybody was like, well, they have to take Jadarian Price because they just don't have a running back, and there's really not any good running backs in this draft class. Not any that you want to be drafting with the intention of making your week 1 starter. So it felt like they had to get Jadarian Price, even though Jadarian Price probably should have gone in like the 2nd or 3rd.
I
mean, it's basically a second round pick. Yeah, at 32, we're basically talking about second rounders at that point. But I mean, they apparently love Jadarian Price, but it's also the same thing where everybody's like, you know, you got to come out and say you love him, but they're also coming out and they're like, look, we were very nervous because everybody apparently knew that we loved Jadarian Price so much because everybody had them mocked to take Jadarian Price or trade out. And they were worried that apparently somebody was going to leap over them and take him. So, you know,
I can maybe see that in the 2nd round. Maybe not leap over. I
don't think anybody's trading up in round 1 to get him. So I think taking it, like, it's one of those, is it a reach? Maybe, but you know, you got to, like, at some level, this is why teams don't like to go into the draft having glaring needs. And when you have a glaring need like they had at running back, you kind of got to reach and take care of it. And, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, if he's a good, decent running back, nobody's going to care that he went at 32 instead of 45. You know what I mean? Bud Clark, love Bud Clark. He is a ball hawk. Just, you go put on that dude's tape. I mean, he picks off everything near him. I mean, it's really insane. He just has such a sixth sense for the ball. I love the idea that he's going to be joining that safety room. And Julian Neal, I was a fan of Julian Neal. Like, I liked him okay, but it's one of those where it's like, let me see where he ends up. He's a big corner, and he ended up in the place that I would love him to go to. They needed some corner depth because they lost some secondary pieces. So their first 3 picks addressed basically the areas they lost depth in. They did also lose Boye Mafe, but, you know, maybe they felt like their defensive line was so deep that they could afford to lose Boye Mafe. It was. I mean, they didn't have any.
Nobody. Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Exactly. Like, they didn't have anybody that was. They didn't have a game record. They didn't have a top 10, top 5 guy, but like
the power of friendship.
I mean, well, you know, when it's like DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, Jaron Reed, Uchenna Nwuso, and then you're also like rotating in, you know, all these other. It's just, you know, when you're 5, 6, 7 players deep on the defensive line, you can maybe afford to lose some and not be so worried. And there's also, you know, there's still some good edge players out there that they can maybe bring in to help kind of fill in their depth a little bit. So I understand. It's the same thing with the Bears, where like the Bears didn't really target edge players, but I kind of get it because you'd rather address like your safety and your center needs that are way harder to get post draft versus like Jadeveon Clowney is still out there. Nick Barnett is still out there. Like, there's all these players that you can bring. Joey Bosa is still out there. So, you know, I understand their logic, and I their first 3 rounds, big fan of them. And Bo Stevens is good depth. Like, I just, you know, I don't have any beef with what they added. So I do agree. Again, I understand people not liking the value and the consensus board says this and this player should have gone here, not there. Like, it is what it is. Like, this team drafts very well. They've got a proven track record.
Yeah,
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I guess for my next team, this is a team that a lot of people have as like the best draft in the league. I don't know if I would go that far, but I was a big fan of the Panthers draft. Big fan of the Panthers. Yes.
They took a tackle first.
They took Monroe Freeling at 19, which I think that works out well for them because Monroe Freeling is probably, I mean, maybe they anticipate him playing a lot this year. I don't think he's going to play a lot this year if I had to guess because, I mean, Ikwanu is still, I think, dealing with some injury concerns. Ikwanu is going to be gone after this year because I don't think they're going to bring him back. But I think the idea is they're going to be able to bring in Monroe Freeling as like their swing tackle. And he probably needs like a year to develop anyway. Like the big knock on him was like he should probably go back to college for another year, and he still came out in the NFL.
That's what the article is saying.
Okay, yes.
I mean, that would have been a top 10 pick in next year's draft. Probably needs a little bit of time to cook, but
he's got a lot of those. Again, just those physical tools, but still's a little raw. Probably needs another year to develop. So him going to the Panthers at 19, where he's going to get a chance to like get some play time, but also have that opportunity to develop. I think that's a really good pick. And if they develop him right, I mean, you legitimately have a guy that could be one of the top tackles in the league. Cause he was like, you talk about Spencer Fano, Francis Maui Noah, even like a Blake Miller, right? These guys are all like, they're high floor guys, but their ceiling is a little capped because they just don't have the physical tools, right? Like at some level, it's like, you're only so fast, you're only so strong, you're only so large. And so you can be good, but like you're only ever going to be so good. Monroe Freeling is one of the few guys in this draft. Again, Caden Proctor kind of fits this mold where it's like, he can keep his weight together and get a little more disciplined and refined. We got something real here. Maxie Honachor, who went to the Steelers, who I love. Same thing, like probably needs some time to develop, but he's got those tools. Monroe Freeling's in that same boat. So I was a fan of, again, it's more so not about who you are, it's where you land. And I had some questions about Monroe Freeling. I was very skeptical of him, but him going to the Panthers, I think is a great fit. And Lee Hunter in round 2, dude, this Panthers defense, bro. Jalen Phillips, Derek Brown, Tershawn Wharton, Bobby
Phillips.
Brown,
okay, I was
Lee
like,
Hunter,
I'm like,
Nick Skirvin.
Their line is not that great, but
they have so many players on their defensive line now, and I mean, and then they signed Devin Lloyd. Obviously, J.C. Horn is still back there. They still have some. I mean, and they went and got Will Lee as well. I was a big fan of Will Lee coming out. Sam Hecht, Zakee Wheatley in their back end too. Sam Hecht is a center. They addressed so many key needs and they did it so well. And like, I mean, Monroe Freeling, Lee Hunter, Chris Brazzell, like those dudes they are huge human beings. I mean, there's Chris Brazzell 6'4". You got a tiny,
you got a tiny quarterback. You gotta put him, you gotta give him big targets.
I mean, you talk about Tet McMillan, Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, and now Chris Brazzell. Those are 4 receivers for them. None of them are below 6'2". I mean, they're all huge people. So, I don't know if Chris Brazzell's going to ever develop into the thing that we would hope he does. He's coming from Tennessee, which just does not develop people well. There's not a great reputation of people coming out of Tennessee. But like,
Peyton Manning? No.
Well, this is Peyton Manning. Yeah, I mean, but
receivers in
the past, decade plus, like there's just not a lot of Tennessee players. So like, I don't know if Chris Brazzell will ever reach his full potential, but like taking a swing on him in the mid round 3 pick, I can dig it. And again, like Monroe Freeling, Lee Hunter, Sam Hecht, Zakee Wheatley, like those are 4 players that I feel like are a lock to be starters for them in the next year or 2. And then the other ones, Chris Brazzell, Will Lee, or Sam Hecht, like those all have very good upside. So I big fan of what they did in Carolina. All right. You got another one, Christian? What you want to do? Don't make me mad. Don't make me mad.
I can package these in, and I like what the Cowboys did.
Hey,
getting Caleb down. I mean, it was a layup. That was just the easiest layup.
Yeah, I mean, you missed that. Like people are gonna clown on you.
Like, don't know about Malachi.
Yeah, Malachi Lawrence.
I'm not saying I'm not getting Taco Charlton vibes, but I'm a little iffy on the edge. But they did take some edge player. They got another edge in the 3rd round from Michigan, Jayshawn Barham.
Yeah, and
then LT Overton in the 4th round, another edge player. I mean, they needed defensive players, edge players. So would have liked them maybe get a linebacker in one of those spots, but.
Well, and truth be told, like Jayshon Barham, he could end up playing off the ball a little bit. To be totally frank with you, I had to read up on who Jayshon Barham was. I did not. He was just not a player I hit. LT Overton, I hit him very early in the process, so I was happy when we took him. Malachi Lawrence is one of those where I was a little iffy on, but even before the draft, like this is not just coping as a Cowboys fan. Before the draft, there were so many teams that were just like, I love Malachi Lawrence. Malachi Lawrence is awesome. He's so good. So like for the Cowboys to get him in the late first round makes me confident that like their read on him was he's really good. The league's read on him was that he's really good. So I'm not too upset about it. I am a little bit nervous, but I mean, straight up, like just getting Caleb Downs, and it's
Caleb Downs. I just made this draft.
It did, and it's not shown in their draft class, but they also traded for D. Winters in the draft from the 49ers. So they added him as a linebacker. So I am a little nervous about our linebacker depth because Christian Parker wants to switch to a 3-4, and linebacking was very much a huge need for us overall, and we did not do a great job. Not to say we didn't do a great job. We did not add linebackers as much as I thought we would. We have D. Winters, DeMarvion Overshown, Maurice Liafu, so we got some guys, but I am curious how Jayshon Barham, how he's going to fit into that kind of 3-4 hybrid element. Malachi Lawrence, I don't think he's going to really be a flex player in that way. I think he's going to play on the line. So, and we are still a little light in our interior defensive line. Like Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams are awesome, but after that, I mean, it's like Jay Toya, and we obviously lost Osa Odigizua, so a little concerned about some pieces, but the Cowboys defense feels like it's like glass. It's like it's good. It's got the pieces now, but like Siobhan Ravel, Deron Bland, can they stay healthy? We're a linebacker injury away from having some real questions. We're an interior defensive line injury away from having some real like multiple levels of our defense. It's like we got guys now, but boy, we don't have a lot of flexibility.
Very top heavy.
We do not have a lot of flexibility. So, which, hey, we literally had to rebuild our entire defense. So I'm not criticizing the Cowboys for like not being able to fix all those problems in one offseason. Like this is going to be a 2 or 3 year rebuild on the defense. But
I know we'll see how the schedule turns out, but I think the NFC East could get. I don't see how the Eagles. A lot of stuff going on with the Eagles. I think the Giants maybe should be better. I think the Commanders should be better. So it's up in the air. So some teams y'all could beat each other up.
I think all 4 teams in the NFC East are very scary.
Yeah,
I think, and
I don't know if I'd pick any of y'all to be Super Bowl contenders outside of the Eagles, but there's just too much going on with the Eagles, I think.
Well, and I did want to talk about, since we're here, I did want to talk about the Giants.
Yeah. Everybody was upset about them not taking Caleb Downs.
Can I just say this?
Go ahead.
If you're upset about them not taking Caleb Downs, please see yourself out the door. See yourself out the door.
Get out.
The Giants draft was phenomenal. Arvell Reese at 5. I promise you, they did not think Arvell Reese was going to be at 5 for them. They're like, that's a gift. That's a gift. That is a hybrid player that can play off-ball linebacker for us and edge for us, and it gives us trade flexibility for Kayvon Thibodeau.
They have Brian. They still have Thibodeau. They have Burns, Carter. So I guess Carter. I can see why people were upset about that.
Well, and the big thing that the Giants lost out on that they didn't address, which I think is fair, they traded Dexter Lawrence away, and they really did not address. I mean, they went and got Bobby Jamison Travis in the 6th round, but they have DJ Reader. They have DJ Reader and
solid player. That's crazy.
DJ Reader's good, but like there's, I can understand the hesitancy.
Yeah.
of like they really are very thin there. But again, like this is where I get frustrated with people because people just, if they had picked Caleb Downs, it would have been like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have Javon Holland, you have Tyler Nubin, you have Ardarius Washington.
Don't say that, Jake. Don't say that name, Javon Holland.
I mean, Javon Holland's awesome. Like he's and like you have a quarterback going into his second year. You needed offensive line help. So you go and get Francis Mauigoa with the 10th pick. I love that. And then with your second round pick, you get Colton Hood, who is awesome. I loved Colton Hood. Colton Hood was my favorite corner in this draft, like my favorite sleeper corner in this draft before I found Chris Johnson. Like I was a big fan of Colton Hood. I'm a big fan of Malachi Fields. Like Malachi Fields.
They didn't need a receiver. I'm glad they picked a receiver.
And not only that, but like, again, and this gets into the big picture offseason topic about the Giants, but like adding Isaiah Likely as well. Like I love what they did, bringing back Jermaine Illuminor, like all the things they did to say, we are going to do everything we can to support our second year quarterback.
Hey, and that's, everybody's been talking about, the big thing is, second year leap.
Yeah. And to facilitate that, you need to help your quarterback. Like that's what the Patriots did. They said,
also, he needs to learn how to slide, but
he does. Yeah, Jackson Dart's got some growing to do as well. But like, I just, the idea that like the Giants defense, like we talk about the Bears last year and all the stuff they did to help out Caleb Williams at the expense of their defense. And their defense was not good last year. Their defense was living and dying off turnovers.
Yeah.
Like the Giants defense is significantly better than where the Bears defense was last year. So like, I mean, they're going to have at worst, in my opinion, a league average defense. And at league average defense, you take
talent though. I would like for them to be a lot.
I mean, you want them to be better, like, but that's my point. Is like at worst, they're league average. At best, they have the talent to be a top 12, top 10 defense. I don't need you to get a safety. I need you to get a lineman to help protect Jackson Dart.
Generational.
I mean, Caleb is awesome, but I really like Francis Mauigoa as well. So I just, people are like, they should have taken Caleb Downs. I'm just like, no. They should have done what they needed to do. It's the Titans, and I don't know if we're going to talk about the Titans here in our next episode.
Be my other one.
But like, the Titans kind of pissed me off, like because I like them getting Carnell Tate at 4, but that is like literally all they did this offseason to help Cam Ward. Everything else they did was invest in the defense.
In the 3rd,
I get, but it's just
took a receiver in the 4th.
I just, people are so silly to me. Like, I just don't understand why you're like, why would you, anyway, I was a big fan of the Giants. The Giants to me knocked the draft out of the park. They spent their first 2 picks on big trench players, offensive and defense, one of them being a hybrid kind of off-ball, versatile player. You can play off-ball and on the line potentially, which maybe you want to give him one job, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, Malachi Fields lining up across from Malik Neighbors. You have Darius Slayton, at one point was their number 1 receiver a couple years ago. Now he's going to get to be their 3rd receiver. So that's exactly where you want somebody like Darius Slayton to live.
I do. I'm very excited for the Saints. I wish they would have took an edge player.
Yeah. I mean, again, you can't hit all your needs, and a lot of teams had them. A lot of places had them mocked to take like David Bailey, who didn't even come close to lasting until pick 8. But David Bailey wouldn't have been a bad pick for them. But I mean, again, like I like the Jordan Tyson pick. I think they genuinely could end up having one of the best offensive lines in the NFL this year. Christin Miller at your D tackle, love that. Like you have a player that Christian Miller is a very smart player. He's got great football character. He's not the most toolsy guy, but he is what?
Oh, you said good character, and I'm like, that's speaking a lot because he come from Georgia, and you know how they like to.
To
drive down there.
Christin Miller, dude, yeah, for whatever reason, but Christin Miller, like, no, he's very, very good at helping in the run. What he needs to do, and I think they're going to give him the opportunity to, is he just needs to develop some pass rush traits. But I think he has the potential to do that. And Oscar Delp in the third round, also from Georgia. I just love that so much. I mean, they brought in Noah Fant too. So, I mean, that tight end room is loaded. They can run 12 comfortably. Jordan Tyson and Chris Olave. Don't know why I blanked on his name. And then they also went and got Bryce Lance, Trey Lance's brother. Dude is like 6'9" and runs a 4.2 or something like that. Like I think he's like 6'4" and runs a 4.3 or something.
This is very like 6'9". Like, is he Calvin Johnson?
He's just a big dude, and it's like, that's one of those. It's like you take him in the fourth round, you take him in the late fourth round, like take a shot on him, make him your third or fourth receiver, and just see what happens. And then Lorenzo Styles, who's Sonny Styles' brother, big fan of that as well. So I mean. Yeah, I also loved what the Saints did. Anybody else you want to hit on?
I think we talked about it. I like what the Titans did. I know it wasn't, fantastic to a lot of people, but getting a receiver there, Carnell Tate, top 4 receiver, getting a guy that will give a target for Cam Ward. Then getting an edge in the first round, they needed defensive help. They need a lot of help, but linebacker in the second round. Then they did take a guard I know it's in the 5th round, but they did address that. Then they got a center, Pat Coogan, in the 6th from Indiana. I just saw a name and I was like, I like that.
I like that name. It's a cool name, Pat.
Pat Coogan. And look, that's a center kind of name. That's kind of what the name I want my center to be.
Yeah, the tight ends had the same thing going on. Where just all the tight ends had these Nate Borkature, Oscar.
That
Dell,
sounds like a potential Hall of Fame.
That's just some crazy tight end names. No, I mean, I Carnell Tate at 4. I appreciated the effort to go out and help Cam Ward. I just wish they had done more throughout the offseason to help him. The interior offensive line is still a mess. Overpaying for, you cannot, I know some people, they're going to hate this. I don't care. You're going to be wrong. Paying $20 million for Wan'Dale Robinson is not a good move. Like, it's not a good move. He's gonna be your third receiver at best one day, and he's gonna be catching 70 balls for you, and you're paying him. I did not like that. I love the Keldrick Falk draft. Keldrick Falk is one of my dudes. I just kind of wish he hadn't. And like, I do think Tennessee, he's going to a place that's going to be able to really. Robert Saleh is going to be able to get everything out of him. I'm happy for Keldrick Falk, but I'm like, could you not? There were plenty of guards on the board at that point. Like, why are you trading up when you already invested $100+ million on your defensive line? Why are we trading back up into the first round and getting more defensive line when your offensive line needs help? Look, it is true. You can never have enough. 100% agree with that. But
and I expect them to be a lot better on defense.
I mean, look, I love Oladejo. They got John Franklin Myers. Jeffrey Simmons is still there. Solomon Thomas is there. Jermaine Johnson they traded for. Like, I love a lot of what they got. I mean, they need so much help on the interior offensive line. And trusting Pat Coogan and Fernando Carmona to be your dudes to get over that hump, I'm just iffy on it. Like, I know some people are saying, well, they were actually a pretty good offensive line in the back half of last year. Not really.
Who are they playing?
I mean, they were below league average, even on the back half of last year in pressure rate. Like, I just would have loved to have seen them done more to support Cam Ward than overpay Wan'Dale Robinson and draft Carnell Tate. Like, that's the start, but I need you to do a little more. I need you to be drafting a Francis Maui Noah at some point. I need you to be drafting a Chase Basontes, an Emmanuel Pregnon, something like that. And they just didn't. They just said, we are going to put all of our resources in defense, and it's counter to what the rest of the league is doing. The rest of the league says, we have a young second-year quarterback. Let's surround that young second-year quarterback with as much talent as we can. And the Bears did it last year, and they saw success. The Giants did it this year, and I think they're going to have success. The Saints did it this year, and I think they're going to have success. I think the Titans are going to struggle this year. I think they will.
Don't say that.
I think they will. I think their defense is going to be decent. I think they'll have a top 14 defense, but I don't think this offense is going to take the step that they expect because they didn't put enough into it. And the idea that we're coming out of the draft and their front office is saying we're still going to make some moves to address the interior offensive line. It's like, good luck. Good luck. I'm curious to see what that looks like. So I had some beef with the Titans. Anybody else you want to hit on? I have a couple more quick hits.
Nah, not for me. I think that's about it.
Real quick. I gotta talk about the Eagles. We gotta talk about the Eagles real quick.
You don't like Mekhi Lemon?
I like Mekhi Lemon. I like Mekhi Lemon. I think I'm mixed up because I had such an expectation that they were going to take Maxi Honachor or a lineman to start getting ready for the next phase post Lane Johnson. And they also had some issues last year with injuries. And like, it was the first time in a long time the Eagles offensive line was like, it looked human, you know? So I thought they were going to take a lineman. They didn't. They drafted Mekhi Lemon, which is obviously getting set to move off of A.J. Brown. The Eli Stowers pick was kind of weird to me because
I mean, what's Dallas Goedert getting up there?
Well, so the reason it was weird was because Howie Roseman came out and was like, we're changing our philosophy and how we view tight end because they have drafted these Dallas Goedert type players, these Zach Ertz types players, right? Where it's like, these are like pass first, pass catchers, all these things. And they went and signed Johnny Munt, who is a blocking tight end. And it's like, oh, they're changing up their tight end room. And then they go get Eli Stowers, who's a pass catcher. And it's like,
he's a sight.
I mean, yeah, it's like, okay, so you
don't have his die hard.
We didn't actually change our philosophy. Or you feel like the philosophy was addressed, like getting Johnny Munt. I don't know. It was a little weird. But here's another thing I did here, actually, that was really interesting is, so you look at Jalen Hurts and his passing charts, and he loves to throw outside the numbers. And they went and got Mekhi Lemon, who wins inside.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense because, that was their thing. Like, he doesn't like to throw in the middle of the field.
And they went and got players. They went and got players who very, very, very directly are contradicting that. So I think this is them sending a message.
I feel like this is...
Jalen is going to throw inside the numbers now. And it goes with their staff and who they've brought in and all these things. So very curious to see how that goes. But I mean, I had some questions about Mekhi Lemon. I think him going to Philly gives me some hope that okay, they're going to maximize him because I mean they have a good system. I know they don't have always a great track record of drafting receivers in the first round. Jalen Reagor, comes to mind, but they did draft Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith is a stud. So
I thought that was a layup, but yeah, I forgot about Jalen Reagor.
And then we get into round 3. Love the Markel Bell pick. Markel Bell, again, one of those toolsy big players, needs some time to develop, but he's going to be able to sit behind Lane Johnson and probably eventually take over for him if I had to guess. Jordan Mailata is on the other side too. So I also loved the Cole Wisniewski safety signing in round 7. I thought that was a steal.
You like the 5th round quarterback?
Cole Payton is cool, but the Cole Wisniewski pick from in the 7th round, I thought that was a steal. I thought Cole Wisniewski would go earlier than that. And then Bernard, bro, who knows? That's just fun.
Nigeria is an international player.
I don't know if you've been following him.
I have not.
Dude, he showed up to a pro day.
He was just like,
because he's part of the international, so they invited the international players to this pro day. I can't even describe to you what happened. You should just go. Just go look at it. This dude is 360 pounds, 6'5", and he ran
We're to talk about his weight.
Because he ran a 4.6.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. He jumped 48 inches or something, something insane. You should go look him up.
He's an athlete.
He's just a raw, pure athlete. So they signed him as a D tackle. fun. That's awesome. If he turns into anything, that's a win. Even if he doesn't, who cares?
He's a 7th round pick.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. I saw some people criticizing, like, why would you spend a 7th round pick on this guy? It's like, bro, shut up. It's a 7th round pick. Like, well, and this is how the Eagles think. Like, the Eagles, they clearly do not care about picks outside of the top 100. Like, they get the top 100, they're taking it seriously. After that, it's like, we're taking dart shots. We're using this capital to move around. Who cares? So anyway, wanted to talk about the Eagles. Wanted to hit on the Colts really, really quick. They didn't have a 1st round pick.
Rough. I'm sorry, Colts.
But their first 2 picks.
Oh, you like them?
Oh, love them.
I felt like they did need some defensive help. Was it the linebacker?
They needed a linebacker. They got C.J. Allen out of Georgia, who is he was like the captain of that defense. So they got C.J. Allen, who he's got some limitations. He's not the most athletic guy. He's got some issues in coverage, but like 2nd round pick, and he's going to be able to wear the green dot. Awesome. And then they got A.J. Halsey in round 3. A.J. Halsey was another one of my dudes. I love him. I think in the right setup, he could be an all-pro safety. I genuinely think that. So don't be surprised if like 3 years from now, A.J. Halsey is one of the best safeties in the league, genuinely. Big fan of A.J. Halsey. So I loved both those players. And then I guess really quick, the Ravens. I wanted to hit the Ravens. I love the Ravens draft as well. Vega Ione, Zion Young in the 2nd round.
Cheated.
He got some, well, to each their own, I guess that maybe they shouldn't have had that pick, but it is what it is. Vega Ione is immediately going to be like a top tier guard in the league. I think
they needed to replace Linderbaum
and Zion. Well, they needed guard help, and they still don't know what they're doing at post Linderbaum, but Vega Ione is going to at least fill one of their guard spots. So we'll see what they do at center. Zion Young he had some trouble off the field, so that's probably why he dropped a little bit, but like him going into that edge room, I think is going to be awesome.
Yeah, and then Baltimore has that good culture,
And then the Jacoby Lane, Elijah Surratt, back-to-back picks in rounds 3 and 4. Absolutely love those.
I don't know if I just don't know if they can, at least maybe late round receivers they're do better, but I don't know. Those 1st round receivers have not been.
Yeah, I mean, and Elijah, like Jacoby Lane is just a big body ball winner. Like he's just somebody that Lamar's gonna be able to throw it up to him. And Elijah Surratt is on the other side of the spectrum. He's not as big of a body, but he's just a good, reliable receiver. So I do like the idea of Elijah Surratt. I think if you have one of them hit, I think you're in good shape. So yeah, I liked the Ravens draft, and then. We've been going on for so long. Who else do I like?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I mean, you could talk about the Raiders draft as well. The Raiders had a good draft. Fernando Mendoza. I like trading Stukes. Kieran Crawford, getting him in the 3rd was a total steal. Trey Zune in the 3rd was a steal. And then getting Jermod McCoy in the 4th. Insane. Like Jermod McCoy, people thought he was going to go top 10 potentially. And he fell because there's a lot of questions about his knee and his injury, and he just kept falling and kept falling and kept falling. So they took him with the 1st pick in the 4th round. If he never plays for you, who cares? Like, because if he plays for you, he has potential to be like a top tier corner in the league. So big fan of that. And then Mike Washington in the 4th too. I like that dart throw. Build out that running back room a little bit. I like that out of Arkansas. So, that is really all I had. If you want to talk about the Browns had a good draft as well.
People are saying the Browns had a great draft. I really have no. I don't have an opinion on the Browns. Just looking at it, tackle Spencer Fano, love that. Need help on the offensive line, and then 2 receivers back to back. I don't know. I guess are they? I guess we don't know, but are they still moving? I guess it's open competition, but with for the quarterback room, I'm blanking on
Shadur Sanders.
Shadur, yeah, sorry. Blanking on that. So like them getting some help wide receiver wise. They took a safety in the 2nd from Toledo. Another tackle. Love that. You can't have enough tackle. Then took a center in the 5th. and rounded out with a linebacker, tight end, QB, and another tight end there.
A couple tight ends, yeah. I mean, Spencer Fano at pick 9, it was either him or Francis Mauigoa. Pick your poison, who was the best lineman in this draft. They needed a left tackle. I don't know if they might just say, Spencer Fano, go play left tackle until you fail, and then we'll bump you into. I mean, because he can legitimately play every. You could probably put him anywhere on the line. I think they might say, go play tackle until we don't think you can play tackle, and if you can't, we'll just put you in the interior. So you kind of, is what it is there. Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston is hilarious to me because they are so.
You like them?
No, I like Casey Concepcion was. Casey Concepcion was a huge. I don't know if he's French or not, but he was a lot of people love him. He just, for whatever reason, like he's one of those guys that he's another one I don't really understand because I feel like when you watch his tape, it's like, man, he is out here making Mansour Delane look bad. Man, he's out here making this other top tier corner look bad, and just top tier corner after top tier corner, he's just killing them and doing a great job. But then it's like when people talk about projecting him to the NFL, it's like, yeah, he might be a good receiver too. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever you say. He's and then on the other side of it, the spectrum, Denzel Boston is just this massive, just big body ball winner. So like they went and got 2 guys that fit exactly the kind of roles you want in your receiver room, just totally different kinds of receivers. And they needed receiver help bad. So getting 2 of the kind of unanimously, like 2 guys that are in everybody's kind of top 7 receivers, I thought was really good. And then getting Emmanuel McNeil-Warren when they did. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, there was talk that he could go in the first round, and they got him in the late second. Love that. Love Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. He's a great in-box safety. So Austin Barber's not bad either. Yeah, big fan of the Browns. And I mean, Dane Brugler had them at number 1, just I think grading. His is graded based on where players were taken based on his rankings. Yeah. So he really liked their draft. And I mean, yeah, I did too. I think they fit a lot of good needs. And I love the emphasis they had on offense because they needed to hit offensive line. They got in this draft 3 offensive linemen. They got 2 receivers. They even threw a dart at a quarterback, and they got 2 tight ends. So, I mean, you talk about what they have on offense from last year with Harold Fannin, Quinyon Judkins. They rebuilt their entire offensive line this offseason. So, yeah, I think they're going to be tough to watch this year because they don't have a good quarterback. No offense to Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel, but I think they've set themselves up to where they could have a decent system in place for whoever their next quarterback is. So that's it. We did it, everybody.
That it.
Talked a long time. I feel like we covered the entire league. Until next time, everybody. We love you. We cherish you. Take it easy. Take it sleazy. We'll see you on Thursday.
All
right. Peace.
Peace.